None of us are perfect, me especially. All of us make mistakes at one time or another. And when we mess up, it's never our fault. We blame someone else. When you were a kid and you forgot to do your homework, who did you blame?
You ate my homework? I didn't know dogs really did that.
You rear-end a guy on your way to work? That sounds weird. It's definitely his fault for stopping short. We all project our mistakes onto somebody else. If we blame them, then maybe nobody is going to accuse us. Well, the Democratic Party took that to heart during the Trump administration, projecting all of their issues onto our former president.
He certainly acts like a president that is compromised.
What do the Russians have on Donald Trump politically, financially, and personally?
Talking about the entirely legitimate question of whether Donald Trump could be compromised.
I do think the president is compromised. You have to wonder how deep that compromise is and what he would or would not do to protect his own interests.
They couldn't stop telling us Trump was compromised. But in reality, it was their guy who was compromised. And now all of a sudden, you don't hear the word compromised anymore. It's almost as if being compromised was only a thing when Trump was in the White House. You'd guess after the Washington Post and the New York Times finally admitted that Hunter's laptop's real, they'd connect the dots to the big guy and realize that maybe, just maybe, Joe Biden is compromised too. But no, they're letting Hunter be the fall guy and using that as a smokescreen to cover for Joe. It's one giant containment operation, and the media and the D.C. system are all behind it. How else would you explain it? Are we supposed to just believe that no one finds it one bit suspicious that while Biden's family was being paid by China, Joe Biden was downplaying the China threat?
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the west. They can't figure out how they're going to deal with the corruption that exists within the system. I mean, they're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not competition for us.
The Biden family's ties to China go way, way back. Joe's been visiting China since he was a young senator out of Delaware, taking photo ops in Chinese neighborhoods and even buying kids little ice pops. It was a big event every time Joe visited. But the Biden family business in China began seriously in 2013, when Vice President Biden boarded Air Force Two destined for Beijing. So what was Hunter Biden doing on Air Force Two on an official overseas trip with the vice president? Hunter wasn't there on pleasure, although I'm sure there was plenty of that for Hunter in China. Hunter was on a business trip, and Joe would be the one to open some doors. Hunter would arrange an introduction between his Chinese partner, Jonathan Lee, and his dad, the vice president. The two shook hands, and Lee later described it as a good social meeting. And it turned out to be a big break for the Bidens. 10 days after the big guy met Hunter's associate, Hunter was offered a fortune. Perfect timing. A 10% stake in a new Chinese company called Bohai Harvest. And the Chinese threw Hunter a board seat, which obviously Hunter deserved with all of his business experience. Peter Schweitzer reports the Chinese paid the vice president's son $20 million. How'd Hunter earn that? Nobody knows. But we know, don't we? This wasn't enough for the Biden family, though. They wanted more. The Bidens have to pay the bills, including Joe's. So Hunter started turning down his Secret Service detail when he traveled overseas. Needed some privacy. And China started slipping him even more money. That's when he was introduced to a Chinese energy conglomerate called CEFC in 2015, a company that serves as the arm to the Communist Party's Belt and Road Initiative. This initiative is a threat to American security and prosperity, and the Biden family was their lobbyist. Hunter brought Joe's brother Jim along, and the two of them started dicing up deals with the enemy. It was a pretty lucrative business for the Bidens. Hunter and Jim raked in almost $4 million in just consulting fees. What were they doing consulting? A Chinese energy company controlled by the Chinese military? They were probably just greedy stooges for the communists. And these Chinese guys reeked of corruption. I mean, reeked. While this was all going down, one of their head honchos, Patrick Ho, was put under FISA surveillance by U.S. intelligence for bribing African leaders and helping Iran evade our sanctions. The same guy was trying to win favors with the Biden family, too. He was giving speeches under surveillance all over Washington, D.C., saying things like, quote, "Friendship is best maintained by having a common experience. Indeed, one of the ways, and perhaps the best way we believe to alleviate international tension and resolve political conflict is for the parties to enter into joint projects and ventures with one another." It sounds eerily similar to what Joe Biden said just 2 months later at a speech in where? In China.
We're trying to build a new kind of relationship between major powers, one that's different, one that is defined by constructive cooperation, healthy competition, and a shared respect.
Looks like they were just using the same talking points. I mean, Joe has a history of plagiarism, so that doesn't surprise any of us. And they sure did reward him for it. China sent Hunter another $1 million in exchange for his legal services. This after Patrick Ho got locked up for corruption here. Nice people the Bidens are in business with, huh? On top of the 3-diamond-carat ring that China bribed Hunter with, the Bidens and CEFC opened up a joint account together under the name Hudson West 3, where money kept flowing in and out to Hunter and Jim's individual accounts. The Biden family was swimming in Chinese cash. Hey, Joe, did your son ever get paid by the Chinese?
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China?
What a liar the president is. He thinks we're fools. So does the media. Hunter was even working on opening up an office for Hudson West in Washington, D.C. He had keys made, ready for some notable people. Obviously, the Chinese, James Biden, Jill Biden, and of course, the big guy, Joe Biden, all ready to share offices with the Chinese. Washington Post mentioned this yesterday, and yet somehow they couldn't connect the dots between Joe Biden and CEFC. Maybe they're just taking Joe's word for it.
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses.
How do you fly across the world to China with Hunter, help him set up deals, and then never ask, hey, what'd you do in China? How was the trip? Come on, man. It's obviously a lie. We know Hunter was putting aside 10% for the big guy. The emails prove it. And if there was ever any doubt as to who the big guy is, Hunter's former associate, Tony Bobulinski, confirmed it.
It has 10% for the big guy held by H. I 1,000% sit here and know that the big guy is referencing Joe Biden. That's crystal clear to me because I lived it. I met with the former vice president in person multiple times.
That 10% was for a joint venture between Hunter and CEFC called Sinohawk. And Tony Bobulinski would know all about the deal because the Bidens appointed him CEO of the company. Washington Post, are you paying attention? Joe even met with Bobulinski twice in 2017 to vet him. Do you hear that, Washington Post? The facts are out in the open. Joe was always involved. Look at the family. For decades, it's how it's been run. And now he's compromised.
Joe Biden and the Biden family are compromised. And I just don't see, given the history here and the facts, how Joe can't be influenced in some manner based on the history that they have here with CFC. And
But this might only be a small piece of a much larger pie. We know Hunter cut off his paper trail from his overseas trips, and we know Chinese businessmen were given access to the White House when Joe was vice president. So what we don't know is this: what went on behind those closed doors? We know China knows what went down, and if they have a copy of Hunter's laptop, they definitely won't lose it like our FBI did. And that means they'd have all the dirt they need to twist Joe's arm. Laptop, no laptop, doesn't matter. They know what went down. Blackmail him so he plays soft, all while they go out and just keep playing us for fools. Can you blame them?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.